1. Hello, everybody. This is the community podcast number 64 for Cyberpunk 2077. I am starting to get the goosebumps. Like, seriously, guys, I'm starting to get the goosebumps. We're getting so close. So close.
11,
all right.
10, 11 days. Yeah.
We're getting there. We're getting there. Not just to the wire, but also to the main event in September. It's like I can almost see it now. Like June's almost like halfway done, and then we've got just a few more months. So with us today, as you can hear, is LastKnownMeal.
Hello. It's good to be here.
Madqueen Show.
Greetings, Earthlings.
And the TheNeonArcade.
Yo.
And I believe the sound is working properly today, so that's always a great thing, isn't it?
True.
Yeah. Oh man, it's always so much fun when things are crazy.
Yeah.
But so
yeah, you're right. We are getting goosebumps, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I keep expecting to see like something, like some new little thing in all of these showcases this weekend. So this weekend, I mean, it's been massive. Spent like 5 hours yesterday watching trailers and videos and stuff. It's insane.
True. We're in for a ride, at least for the next part of the year. I think the first part wasn't as... it's always like that, I believe. Kind of weak then later.
Doesn't E3 typically end on like around today, like June 14th?
Well, I mean, normally it would like run. It normally would have, I think, would have been like wrapping up today or so.
Yeah.
So that's It's so crazy that just everything, like the world's upside down and everything's going crazy, and it's like, imagine if none of this stuff had happened. It's like,
yeah, someone should be very mad that they delayed the game.
Right.
It would have been delayed anyway, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because of this. It was inevitable because they were switching to work from home. I mean, now they're able to actually do it because they already delayed. So we have time to work on it. But I don't think it would be April.
So, but I mean, if they could have had the game on time, they would have skipped all this.
True.
Well, I think overall, I think it's probably the better idea. Because at least now they should hopefully like release in a better part of the year. That, of course, hoping that we don't get that invasion of robotic dinosaurs that's slated for the rest of the,
okay.
the end of the year.
You better start knocking on wood here.
You are joking, but there is a trend now in Spain that's becoming popular thanks to popular people in Spain. And the theory is that Bill Gates is investing in a vaccine for this thing that is going on right now because they are going to inject all of us nanobots to keep us controlled.
We have a theory here.
I swear this is a theory that people in Spain is giving credit to. I swear. I know. I mean, past year we had the news about the porn actor. This week, this one. I mean, please let the dinosaurs come. Yeah, past week a porn actor in Spain was arrested because he did some kind of ritual with more people, and he gave another person a toad to lick, but the toad was venomous, and the other person ended up dead.
Oh my god!
That kind of reminds me of that Family Guy episode where they're like licking toads to get high.
Yeah.
I thought that was a.
Is it a Family Guy?
A Simpsons
Might have been a
episode?
Simpsons. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Because it's like, but I mean, things are literally going crazy, and you can tell that things are going crazy when people start doing absolutely bizarre stuff for fun, such as licking toads. Like, trust me, everybody, please, licking toads is not that fun. Don't try. There's so much better things you can do with your time. So many better things.
Your time and your tongue, yeah.
speaking of better things to do with your time, before we get into this too much of the cyberpunk stuff, do any of you guys have any like kind of like top favorites that you've seen thus far in the game announcements this past week?
I'm a little confused. I needed to read different sources and then go into the original about what happened with Miles Morales SpiderMan. That Sony said that it was a DLC, and then it wasn't, and then it was, and then it wasn't again. And for those of you who don't know and read the news, Miles Morales Spider-Man is not a DLC; it's a standalone game. But they reused a lot of assets from Spider-Man, which is a thing that happens a lot of times. I don't know why anybody is surprised, but
it was relatively. Sorry? It was relatively new, correct?
Yeah,
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they I guess that they redid that they wanted to, use the hype on the new film of the multiverse that it's going to be released in a couple of years. And they wanted to make a game fast. And they reused a lot of assets, which is a very common thing to do. But Sony wanted to be honest about it, and they said that the game reused a lot of assets from the previous Spider-Man game, but it's not a DLC; it's a standalone. And I want to play it so bad because I loved the film.
It's fair from them actually to say that, because now you know what you're getting into, and it makes my decision easy actually to buy. I would buy it regardless, but now that they actually went out and said, yeah, this is reused. A lot of it has been reused from the original city, so yeah.
The problem is that it generated a confusion, and some people thought that it was an expansion and not a standalone game. I don't know if this is going to also have an impact on the price. Reusing assets, it's so commonly done, and it's especially funny when the assets that they reuse are sound, because then a sound is something that you don't, at least this is something I do, I don't understand them consciously but unconsciously. And when I hear a sound that I have linked to another game, then it's like my immersion goes to the other game that is different to the one I'm playing. That happened to me a lot, for instance, in Dishonored and Bioshock, where they use the same sounds. And you go to the menu of Dishonored, and it's the same sound of menu of Bioshock. It's like you have a moment of mental disconnection. And a lot of people does that a lot of times, but I'm glad that actually Sony wanted to talk about it. But the thing is that I don't know if this is going to have an impact on the price of the game, if they go into sell it like the regular AAA game price, or a little less.
Well, I would hope that it would be cheaper, because it really should be. I mean, they have like cut down a lot of stuff on it. I mean, they could probably at least drop it a few bucks,
or maybe even to 40, in my opinion.
Yeah, but it is the next generation only title, right? It's not coming for the. Is it coming for the PS4 as well?
No, as far as I know, it's coming for the PlayStation 5, and it's an exclusive.
I feel like it's going to be full price.
Yeah. Expect that too. How about Resident Evil? That was actually for me. That was the highlight.
Werewolves.
Just I needed a good scare. I didn't have a good scare, like a good horror game in a while. So that's a welcome surprise. And to have it from first person again, yes, absolutely yes. Yeah, and they're taking a darker story with this one. No, they're just taking a darker story. I think Chris Redfield is gonna be somewhat of an antagonist character. That's how they present him.
I need to buy a VR set to see if with VR I am capable of playing first person in a dark setting.
I think VR makes it substantially worse.
No, actually, oddly enough, it's better for me.
Really?
Yeah.
So,
but I didn't play for long. I mean, I tried the VR goggles, but for 2 hours maximum. I never tried a huge gaming session of at least 5-10 hours, and I don't know, but I should try for a long run, because I wanted to play the previous Resident Evil, and I almost died trying to do it normal.
Yeah, it's quite dark actually.
So just on the whole Spider-Man thing, I gotta say that I really did like the the multiverse Spider story that they had put out, and I like some of the directions that they've gone with that. I actually don't mind the several of the characters. I think the Noir is probably like my surprise favorite from the first movie that they put out, and then they're doing a second one with I cannot remember her name, but she's like she's a spider girl that uses it, like, instead of like a full face mask, she just does the nose and down thing, and I can't remember her name, but she's pretty, like, it's one of my favorite Spider-Mans, and I cannot remember the name because they all start with Spider something, and there's like 5,000 of them. So
couldn't find it.
Yeah, I can't find it.
Now we're talking about the trailers. I am the only person who was living below a rock that didn't know that Demon Souls was being remastered.
I mean,
I didn't know, and it was funny because as I didn't know, I started seeing the images of the trailer of the remaster, and my first thought in the first 3 seconds was, "Why are there so many games that look like Dark Souls?" And then I saw more images like, oh, well, yeah, of course.
I like it. Like a full, like they rebuild the entire game from the ground up. Like entire game. It's gonna be so good.
Thanks, Darian. Yes, it is Silk. Silk is one of my favorite. Cindy Moon is her character name. Probably my favorite. Probably my favorite Spider-Man, just because she's got this story is like really gripping. As far as games go, did you all watch most of what's gone out this last weekend?
Yes, and what's the name of this? That it's a fox. It's quite a cartoonish. Oh, what's the name of the game?
There's a lot of those.
Yeah,
we just watched like 50.
The one that you enter into portals and you change the world.
Ratchet?
Yeah, Ratchet and Clank.
Thank you. It's fantastic.
That looked
without
awesome,
loading screens.
Mm-hmm.
You can change the map automatically without loading screens.
Yeah, that's some of the new tech that's really exciting, and I'm looking forward to that one because the way that they've done it too is quite ingenious. Like, we got to see how it works and get our hands on it, I think, but it looks like a pretty brilliant concept. So that definitely like was on the top of my list. I really hope that it's going to come out for more than just the PlayStation.
And the graphics.
The graphics were amazing.
Wow.
Historically, it's been an exclusive though, right? Ratchet and Clank is on PlayStation.
True.
So, I mean, fingers crossed. I really kind of doubt it, but whatever.
Everybody was expecting to hear about what were the plans of Cyberpunk 2077 to PlayStation 5, and we didn't hear a word about it yet.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Xbox. Bam, trailer. Bam, trailer.
Bam, trailer. We're gonna get to that one in a second. I want to shout out a couple of my favorites for favorite games that have been kind of like spotlighted in the last few days. Empire of Sin. Oh my goodness, that looks amazing. I'm really looking forward to like a big, gigantic, like it's very strategic, like turn-based combat kind of thing going on.
Oh yeah,
looks solid. I mean, Mafia. super solid. Yeah, Mafia style.
Yeah, you talked about Mafia style or the Mafia remake?
Well, no, the Empire of Sin is a Mafia styled game, very similar like look and feel to it, and yeah, there is the Mafia remake that they're putting out, as well as like the kind of like the new trilogy that they've got going for that. So that's really exciting.
There is something that I didn't understand about the announcement of the Mafia remake. So they are announcing that they enhanced the graphics, and what they show is a CGI trailer all the time. They didn't show gameplay. Like, well, if you want to show me that you enhanced the graphics, show me the gameplay. I don't know. Right. I believe that's the same.
Well, that's part of the problem is that we've had a lot of like there was a lot of stuff where it was just like, hey, here's more trailers, but and the thing that was really annoying about the quote PC showcase was that it wasn't the PC showcase, it was the Epic exclusive showcase, basically. So there was that. But some of them have like the event that came after that yesterday was actually kind of good. We got a new look at Humankind. That looks great. Space Crew kind of looks great. Dungeons of Naharubrak. I'm not sure how to say that. That looks hilarious. Felicia Day is voicing one of the characters, and that's always good. Probably one of the best concepts for a video game ever was Boyfriend Dungeon.
What?
Yeah,
Boyfriend
I
Dungeon.
didn't see that.
So
It caught all of us in the bathroom.
So there's a girl. I think it's a girl who's the main character. Although I believe they said you can like roll whatever character you want, and then you date weapons who turn into really gorgeous looking people. And then they turn back into weapons when you go into the dungeon, and it's like this combination of like a dating sim and a dungeon crawler. It's probably one of the wildest concepts for like a game I've seen in a long time. It's like half of it's like, you know, there's like novel like story like dating game type things, like simulate like dating simulator type games. It's that, and then it's like run around in a dungeon and like kill stuff.
Yeah, I see. I just saw it.
What's it called again? Boyfriend Dungeon?
Boyfriend Dungeon. I thought
Sounds like game of the year to me.
Somebody would get a kick out of that.
Totally.
Star Renegades looks really, really good. I'm kind of excited for that one. And Haven looks really, really interesting. I'm not sure how great it'll be, but it looks really does quite look interesting. So yeah.
Well, the greatest anticipation this week is Last of Us 2. Yeah. Not in the presentations, but yeah, it's going to be released in a week, maybe more or less. Yeah. Am I correct?
Is anyone getting that?
Well, I wasn't going to, but everybody's talking so well about it.
Yeah. Well, I kind of call that into question. There's like 44 perfect reviews on it.
There was like reviews on it before, like months before the. They typically give review copies 2-3 weeks max.
What kind of reviews are we talking about? The Steam reviews?
No,
or magazine reviews? Because there were people on magazines that made a hands-on some time ago already.
Yeah. Not Steam reviews. They were just independent. Let me pop it up.
I think yeah.
Because I mean, on Steam and on the PlayStation Store and on all of those platforms, as soon as you buy the game, and this can also mean a pre-order, you can already.
No, I'm talking about. There's 44 reviews done by journalists and magazine sources that have given it a perfect score, when they didn't even give like most other games a perfect score. It was like 9.9 or 9.8. This one's like 10 out of 10. Perfect game.
Yeah, it was
it's like whenever I hear 10 out of 10 perfect game from a lot of people all coming out all at once, that I kind of tend to be like, well, I'm pretty sure that's not the case. So because there's no game that deserves a perfect score. Like
but I mean, God of War also had a lot of perfect scores, and it has a 10/10 on IGN and 94% on Metacritic.
Yeah,
and we're talking about the game.
The Metacritic was sitting at 100%.
And it had 400 reviews or something like that. Something insane.
It's a really good game, though.
That's the other reviews that have been coming out. Is the PlayStation reviews, where it's like PlayStation pre-order reviews sat at all of them sat at like there was 4,000 4,000 reviews that came in all at 5 stars. There's not a single less than 5-star review. So but that's their system, right? They get to curate that and pick what they want. So they basically just picked all the 5 stars, because the same is being done for Cyberpunk. So I'm not going to show favoritism to say, well, Cyberpunk's doing it, therefore these other things are. I don't agree with the way that with the way that they set up that system, because it's like, first of all, I don't think you should be able to review a game before you get it, before you play it, and that's why I like the Steam reviews. The Steam reviews shows it's like there was a game yesterday that got bombed because it came out. There was somebody who spent 10 minutes trying to play the game, and it's like 0.01 of an hour, so it's like less than 6 minutes, and the guy gave it a thumbs down, said it was the worst game that he's played. It's like, how do you know? Turns out it was just he couldn't get in on the server at first, like load up, after being the first person to jump on the game that just got released that day, and there were thousands and thousands of people trying to log in at once. He spent 6 minutes trying to get in, and he leaves a negative review. It's like, I don't think you should do that, but I also don't think you should be able to review a game that you haven't played and give it a score.
I think you should find an independent reviewer on YouTube or online, and if you're aligned with that person, if you typically agree with their opinions, just watch their reviews. It doesn't make sense.
Because that's the important part. Do you agree with because a lot of reviews it's like, oh, the game is very good on the technical side. Well, congratulations, maybe it is, but I'm going to enjoy playing it, which is the important thing for me. It depends. A lot of people loved Death Stranding. A lot of people loved, I don't know, a lot of games that I don't like. But reviews are mostly a thing about a personal, personal opinion. I mean, GTA 5, how many copies did it sold? Everybody loved it. I hate it. And I'm sure the game is great, but if I had to play it based on purely on reviews, I would say that the game is amazing. But
and they're
I
still
hate
milking,
it with a passion.
They're still milking GTA. Isn't there a next gen version now?
Yep. It's gonna come
they're
free.
They're working on it slowly, I would think, but it's going to be a long time. I really don't think we talked about this yesterday on the podcast. I really don't think we're going to get another GTA 5 for another probably. I hate to say this, but I don't think it's going to come out for the next 3 years.
Didn't they announce something for the PlayStation 5 on GTA 5?
GTA Online, yes.
That.
It's like a remaster, and then you get GTA Online free or something.
Yeah, but you need to pay, even if you have the previous copy.
No, comes free with PlayStation.
The next copy.
Can I just answer one question before I don't lose it? Philo Punsmith, okay? Can you please talk about CP multiplayer mode and whether it's going to be a full $60 AAA game? We don't know much about multiplayer. Just wanted to answer this on the video. We don't know anything right now about multiplayer. We know it's coming out. We know that we are going to see it. We don't know how they're going to actually monetize it. Are they going to monetize it? Do we actually?
No. The only thing that was said, and I don't even know if it still stands, I guess it does, is when the joint CEO of the project, Adam Kaczynski, said that it wasn't going to be a battle royale. That's it. That's all the information we have on it. And also that it's a standalone game.
Yeah. But depends how they're going to monetize it. Yeah.
Didn't they say they were looking into fair monetization? Wasn't that the word that they were using?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Gwent has microtransactions, and I never heard a single person complaining about them. So
you can get everything by just playing.
Yeah.
Almost everything. Cosmetics, yeah, but the cards definitely.
Yeah. And I mean that's better than a lot of things that we get. There's some pretty terrible stuff. All right, so that does it that pretty much does it for the games catalog. There's still another day of game announcements that will be coming out. So I mean, just some really amazing progress.
Wasn't there a Aldersgate thing yesterday?
Yes, there was. It was really cool. Their stream got cut in the middle of it, so we kind of missed a bunch of it. So we're going to be kind of covering it. What was put out. It was only like a minute and 30-second trailer, but it is massive improvement over the last time we saw Last time, a lot of people said, "Oh, look, it's like Divinity Original Sin 2.5." That was a lot of the complaints early on. But I watched it, and before I saw DOS asset. But now looking at it, it's like most of those assets are gone and have been replaced with the new ones, and the game looks like a lot better right now. So it's like I'm stoked for this. It's looking better and better and better. And they made the announcement that they are going to be putting the Act 1 version for the early access will be up in August. ... Maybe. Maybe.
That was
August is their plan. They it may get delayed. I hope not. I really hope we get this in August. Early August would be even better. But if there's a delay and it gets pushed to November or September or something like that, that's fine too, because it's like this is the game. This is one of the games that I've been waiting ages for. So it's really exciting to see them, like, they're going to be putting it out, and then you're going to be able to hop in with that, talk about it, kind of like give your experience on it, join the forums and the feedback on the game, and then get, help them to make the game better, help them to improve the classes, help them to improve the gameplay. They really did listen during the making of DOS. So for anybody who knew how that they did the same thing. They put out Act 1, you did the boat fight, and then you did the Fort Joy basically, and that was there for about a year, and then they released the whole game. We're expecting a very similar thing this time around, and before, a lot of people were like, I think I want to be able to do this. Can we do this? Can we do that? And they would ask those questions, and then the community, the devs would go, yeah, that makes sense. And then they would add this stuff. So that is really, really awesome. So Home P is asking, what will Night City Wire be about? We still don't know. We know that there may be. Well,
Cyberpunk 2077.
Obviously, they may be tweaking.
Do them like that. Come on.
Sorry?
I said, how are you gonna do them like
that? Yeah, I know. So I mean, they've looked. I think we're going to be getting a little bit more stuff than what was originally planned. At the very least, it's obviously going to be coming faster. So there's that. So yeah, I think obviously, good Cyberpunk content, and we may get introduction to more of the characters, because they've really been adding those characters to IMDb. Yes, the IMDb page. They've been adding a lot of that, so things have been going over there. Madqueen, what was the newest ones that have gone up, because I cannot pronounce them?
Oh, Mauricio, I can't remember the name. It was a Spanish name.
One was Hanako Okada or Okado.
Okada.
And then there was Mateo, I believe.
Mateo. I remember it was a Spanish name, but I couldn't remember. They are not in the 2020 law. They are new.
Yeah. So I'm really hoping that we're going to get a good look at some of those characters, and then or maybe a little bit more of a deeper dive into some of these gangs. I was talking with a dev recently, who I can't name, but they were asking me, what's the most excited thing? What's the most excited thing? Like, what's the thing that I'm the most excited for to see in the game? And I really have to say, like, the gangs and how the gangs interact with the world, because the gangs are a reflection of the culture, right? So that, I think, will probably open your eyes the most to, like, the culture of, like, what's going on as far as the NPCs go in the world.
The boyfriend dungeon gang.
It's funny because I always say, the net. I want to see the net. And then people tells me that McQueen only wants one thing, and it's disgusting.
Yeah, it's the net, techies, and what was the third? There was one more thing people want to see. I think melee combat.
Badlands,
Dance. Yeah.
Badlands is a big request right now, because they want to know if we're going to get like a huge area to just like drive around in and cause chaos and fight, what's that?
Gangs.
Well, I'm really curious how far are they going to take the consequences thing, because I want to go to the Badlands and cause chaos. Maybe it's not very wise.
I'll be afraid
do the Mad
to move
Max Fury Road type thing. It's like that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, but maybe you have to align with some of the factions that control the territory before daring to do something like this, if you don't want to end with a bullet in your head. Because that's the thing, I don't know exactly how the mechanic is going to work, but what I did understand is that it's not that you die a final death, but you go unconscious. And if you go unconscious, you can get robbed. So I don't want to get unconscious in the middle of the Badlands with the psychos of the wraiths around. No, I don't. I can wake up without a limb, cyber limb. No, thank you. So yeah, depending on what kind of things, maybe doing them won't be the wisest option.
Trauma team is gonna be busy. Just get the Deadman transmitter.
Does Trauma Team go to the Badlands? What do you think they go to the Badlands? They must, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, on lore wise, they go wherever. I mean, they costed in the 2020s. I think it was 300 a minute, and they started counting from the moment that they get out of where the unit is stored until they put you in the hospital. So wherever you go, they go.
I guess if they go to the combat zone, they go pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like they did in the gameplay. That was really hot situation there, and they landed pretty much. And the funny thing is, they don't even trust us.
They can't. They don't know you.
They can't. They
it's only
just
about the patient.
It's the client and the client. That's it.
Mm-hmm. True.
Still, they didn't have to shove you. It's like
It's a trauma team. What did you expect? But if this is a quest in game, I'm going to make it stealthy. So the trauma team can make the big entry.
Oh.
Shooting left and right. Then I'll drop my weapon and raise my arms like, I'm not an enemy.
I don't know. I've been thinking about the smart gun a bit, because if we can use it, enemies can too.
Well, this was a conversation, because the smart link was designed for people that wanted the RPG part of the game, but they didn't want the shooting part of the game, because not everybody likes shooting, and it's a game mechanic that is very specific, and if you don't have practice, I understand that it's a little difficult for people that is not used to shooting mechanics, especially if you're playing with a controller. So originally, as they explained, they thought about the smart link as a way for people they are not especially fond of shooters to be able to progress on the game and to be able to experience the story. But enemies can use it. I don't think it would make a great difference. I am more afraid that enemies can use these bullets that can bounce walls.
Oh, yeah.
Than the smart link. If you are hiding under behind the cover, the smart link is not going to help them kill you. But if they can bounce bullets,
oh boy!
As long as they can see you. On this kind of topic, MRDR Pepper asks, "I want to see weapon customization," and I think that would be something that they could probably definitely show off and not really like impact too much of the lore. So that might be something that we get a lot on the Night City Live, Night City Wire when it goes live. In a few days. So I think one of the I think something like that would probably be.
But even
solid.
Yeah, even The Witcher, when it was announced, when the old trailers and gameplay videos came out, the game still had a bunch of stuff hidden in there, like going from swords to armors to everything. So even obviously what they show here, there is gazillion of things in the background. There's just
they got to start talking about the lore sometime too, right? To introduce the newer players who are like, there's a lot to go over with this game, so they need to start introducing it in a like super accessible way that people are going to understand. I think the deep dive was a little bit too fast paced. It went over people's heads. You know what I mean? So
and I really wonder about that. I really do wonder if we are going to see a significant amount of lore drops, or if they're going to go for because I don't know, there is the possibility that you could go to the content of the game and not really cover the lore, and instead just let the people discover the lore as they played the game.
This is a good thing in the sense that you give players more things to discover, but this is a bad thing because there are a lot of misconceptions about the game.
Yep.
And
So,
this is the part. This is about the part that I would really like not happen, because sometimes I have a lot of questions on my Discord or on my channel, questions that prove that people really don't know what this game is about.
Yeah.
And one thing is that they may be confused with Deus Ex. Okay, is this more or less is the same type of setting, so it's a confusion that is normal. But there are other confusions that is like, oh, I want to go outside of Night City and go to the forest. No, you won't. No, but yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a forest. No, it's not
A
going
dead
to be
forest, maybe.
Well, I mean, Biotechnica was experimenting in creating a forest, and I don't remember in what city, and they tried to recreate animals, and the consensus is that you better stay away.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so the trees just started eating people, basically.
I don't know if the tree, but something started eating people for sure.
Bigfoot.
Let me. So just kind of one quick thing on the whole emergency combat medic thing. What do you think? So I had kind of an idea. I wonder if you just go on a shooting spree in like some one of the major areas within the game, if you'll end up getting summoning a bunch of emergency combat medics to just drop out of the sky, like how many of the average walking citizens along the streets do you think have that special coverage? And if you killed enough NPCs, would you just suddenly get swarmed with a literal sky full of emergency medvacs?
There is a very important thing
for the wealthy.
Yeah. But I mean, there's a very important thing that you have to understand about the trauma team. Their goal is to get to the client and to revive the client, and they will do whatever, but they don't revenge the client. Maybe even the trauma team.
But I mean, if you're firing at them, they're going to return fire, right?
Yeah.
So.
If you fire the trauma team.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Is what happens if there's a fight or something that breaks out, and then there's 5 different trauma teams that come down for 5 different individuals.
You turn around and run for
and
your
you're
life.
firing at you fire at the wrong thing, and it ricochets and hits one of their ships. Then all of them are just going to be turn on you and annihilate target. And...
No, because their goal is getting to the client. If you accidentally shoot them and then drop your weapon and run for your life, they're going to forget about you because their goal is their client.
Trauma team is just on the screen right now. I mean, trauma team would be the least of your worries if you start shooting people there.
Well, that's what they've been saying too. Is the cops or the
please allow me to interrupt you here. Sorry to interrupt you here, but we have Paris on the chat. How is it possible that he's never been on the stream? Paris needed to be on the stream.
He has.
He has been on the stream. Maybe twice, I think. Right?
Well, you invite him when I'm not here, because I've never been on the same with him. I've never been
here. You talked with him.
You have
in the chat room.
I remember you complimenting his silky smooth voice, and you wanted him on the commercial.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
Come on, Madqueen.
My God, I have the most horrible memory. No,
I the worst.
I mean,
I've
heard his voice. I sometimes watched him, and I heard his voice, and I know he has a very magnificent voice. But I honestly, truly don't remember him being in the podcast.
It was a while ago. I mean, it's been a while.
Yeah. It was a while ago.
Sorry, Paris. I really have a very bad
gameplay.
memory. I really have
Paris,
a very...
I know you've been doing some more podcast stuff. If you have time to hop in here one day, you just let us know, okay?
No, he's planned for after Night City Wire. He's on board with that.
We've got a couple people lined up for afterwards. So.
Oh my fucking God! I don't remember.
I do. I actually do. It was right after E3. He came to the podcast to talk about the gameplay. I remember we asked him a couple of questions, and he said he doesn't remember that well. And then you complimented his voice. So yes.
Oh my God! I'm so amazed by the memory you have. I don't even remember the content of past podcasts.
Oh well.
Go back and watch the VOD. It'll jumpstart your memory.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But then the funny part is that then I can discuss about the lore of Cyberpunk with dates and names and everything. But I honestly don't remember what was the content of that past post. Oh my god, my tongue. You need that memory chip cyberware upgrade right now. Well, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't. I really do need it. I really do need it. I have a horrible memory. You know what happens? The Cyberpunk lore is so complex and so big that I believe that there went my whole memory. That I have no more space.
You start to purge real world information for like Cyberpunk lore, because only so much can fit in your brain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Madqueen, I believe who you're thinking of is Andrew Alliance, because he's never been on the podcast, on the community podcast, but he's been on our podcast before, because he's always busy this time of the day on Sundays. He's completely
the worst part is that I thought that Andrew was the one that wasn't the podcast. Okay, now I feel so bad for confusing people.
Because he's the one who was talking about how they've got his Haitian people in there.
Oh right, I talked with Andrew in your podcast, not in
yes. Yeah, he's been on our podcast before, which you were on. That was back at that was almost a year ago, on June 29th.
Yeah, after E3, yeah. You need to download more RAM. Yes. Then the good side of it, because it has a good side, then I can replay games and I can reread books and rewatch series, and I forgot enough things to enjoy a lot of things like it was the first time that I watched them.
Yeah.
Mm. The bad part of it is, for instance, Horizon Zero Dawn, a game that I loved. Then people ask me, so what's the game about? I don't remember. But it was so good. I remember it was so good.
But there are some games that I don't know if you had this, but I can actually imagine the entire map inside my head because I played it so much. And I think one of them is, San Andreas. That was a big game back in the day.
Yeah,
I believe that the game that I played more, I mean, in terms of hours, because I just have an insane amount on the thousands, is Fallout 4.
Oh.
And the only thing that I can remember is another settlement needs your help. I'll mark it on your map. But I swear I don't remember the story.
Did you start your channel?
But I remember that
he brainwashed you. Preston brainwashed you.
That's the only thing I remember.
Yes, because it appeared every 5 minutes.
Yeah. until this patch appeared. Well, depending on the defense you had on a settlement, it would defend by itself. So you wouldn't have this guy reminding you that the settlement needs your help. But in spite of that, I don't remember the story, but I remember this guy. And it happens with a lot of things. I remember the most stupid scene on a film, but I don't remember the rest of the film. But then I remember books, and I remember whole paragraphs of books.
Oh, I'm bad with that.
That's good.
Well, doesn't reading trigger like your long-term memory more because you're actually seeing the words?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Something like that.
Netherblade is asking, why do you think so many people have so many misconceptions about the game? Is it rampant speculation, overhyping, or poor communication from CD? I would say this is Cyberpunk is a genre that's not been, unlike certain other genres, it's been more contained. Like the D&D type, like general, like high fantasy kind of world, there's a lot of rules to it. There's a lot of like things to it, because a lot of similar concepts work off of the same like source material, whereas Cyberpunk has a fair amount of like books and stories and movies and stuff like that, but they don't all work off of a similar source material. A lot of them work off of a really scattered one, and this is actually why I'm one of the reasons why I'm really excited to see this, because I believe I have this crazy notion in my head that I think Cyberpunk 2077 will help establish a new mainstream source material for Cyberpunk content going forward. Because right now it's really all over the place. Everything from the random movies to the some of these new Netflix shows. It's just kind of all over the place, and there's not one coherent set story for what is considered Cyberpunk. It's all over the place, and I'm really curious. It would be truly amazing. Wouldn't it be so amazing to have the future of gaming start to dictate the future of like movies and all the other stuff that you encounter?
Well, the problem with that is that games are much longer to make, and I would say that that's not the only problem. The problem is that Cyberpunk people associate it with things done in the 80s, and then people is expecting some sort of Blade Runner that was 40 years ago. It's we need a renewal in Cyberpunk, and they expect this rain and this dystopian Philip K. Dick moments of Vangelis in the background and things like that. And then they see things like, oh, Run the Jewels, hip hop in Cyberpunk. Like, yes, absolutely, because really hip hop is something that I think that matches a lot with the style of Cyberpunk. First, there's a misconception on what Cyberpunk is, especially in the side of punk, because when cyber, Deus Ex and Blade Runner mostly, and I had in the video about the music, I had a lot of comments like, well, I expect, in one hand, the people that said, well, I expect something sounding like Vangelis. No, not exactly. And then a lot of people that expects 100% synthwave. We evolved from that. And then the other thing is that the question about the misconceptions on Cyberpunk, one said, well, that's bad communication on CD Projekt side. They are not the only ones that communicate about the game. In fact, the people with more impact when communicating about the game is the gaming press. They are supposed to, get information from the correct places and then create the information that is, faithful to the original. That's why they usually echo the information from the developer. But the thing is that when people think about massive open world games, the first name that comes to your mind is Rockstar. So what happens? A lot of comparisons between GTA and Cyberpunk started to emerge. And they are not comparisons that started at CD Projekt. They are comparisons that started in the gaming press. Even though when these comparisons started, we didn't even have enough information about Cyberpunk to know if it was anywhere close to a GTA. And a lot of people is expecting that, but because the press has been feeding this idea, I believe that more because they were expecting something similar, but because people associate this concept of a massive RPG with a massive open world, with GTA, and they created an easy comparison so that people would more or less understand. But this also created more misconceptions.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm hoping, like I said, I really hope that Cyberpunk starts to, because I think just culturally that would be a huge step up. Is like now video games are dictating pop culture. Like that would be amazing if that would work out. And I think honestly that would be also very, very good for our friends at CDPR, and also Mike Pondsmith and the people over at Telsorian. To have them be involved in more mainstream like movies and television as just advisors would be frankly amazing, and I think that would be a good thing. So I'm going to show this video now. The Xbox One. Are we all ready for this?
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah.
All right. So there's going to be a bit of a delay for if you're watching it here.
I have it open here, so don't worry.
Yeah. All right, so here we go. So there we go.
Nice.
It looks great. I mean,
It does.
I want more.
The thing that I saw.
Give me more.
The thing that I saw like right off the get-go there that made me I went, my goodness, somebody's gone to the trouble of like doing this and prepping this. I am now more convinced, Madqueen. I must admit, I am now more convinced that I think you're right. I think we will be seeing some kind of a live Johnny Silverhand concert at some point. They have the music, and apparently they've done a bunch of the CG stuff. So yeah, I think that might be a thing. I think this might be a thing.
Yeah, I think the first thing that obviously came to mind with Johnny Silverhand concert, the Arasaka Riot, but the thing is that I had to check because I believed that the keyboard of Samurai Nancy wasn't in that concert. And I checked both in 2013 and in 2020, and it's not specified. So maybe she's, because the only other person that we can see on stage is shortly after the camera pans around Silverhand, behind him, behind his right arm, we can see someone on the keyboard. And it's really blurred. So I believe that are the keyboards, and that seems to be a person. If there's a person on the keyboards, this person is Nancy. Nancy that after at 2013, that is when the Arasaka Riot happened, she changed her name and turned into a media and worked for Network News 54 under the name of Best Isis. Then the other thing is that this concert, well, I'm going to explain first the story. People that more or less know about the lore tend to confuse two events that happened and both involved Al Cunningham, Johnny Silverhand, and Arasaka, and both those events are different events. One of them happened in 2013, is what is called the Arasaka Riot on the Adventure Never Fade Away. And it's the first time that, because both things started with Arasaka kidnapping Al Cunningham. So it's the first time that Arasaka kidnapped Al Cunningham. So Johnny Silverhand tried to rescue her and to create a distraction to enter into the building where Arasaka held Cunningham captive. He made in front of the building, a concert with samurai, and they started singing Chipping In. And they sent the people attending the concert to attack the guards of the Arasaka Tower. So this concert happened in a park that was in front of the building, but in this video it doesn't look like a park. But the thing is, it was called the Park Green or something like that. And it had some trees and things. But this version of the park is the version of the 2020 re-edition of this story. But this story comes from Cyberpunk 2013, which is the first edition. And in the first edition, it's not specified. So maybe this is the Arasaka Riot. And Johnny Silverhand just, sent a bunch of people to attack Arasaka to create a distraction. What a lovely guy. Unfortunately, a lot of them died because the people of Arasaka thought that they couldn't kill so many people with impunity. If it wasn't out on the open, he would probably kill them. And the funny thing is that what Johnny Silverhand did is what ended with Al Cunningham dead. So he already had the situation under control, but he came and he did a thing, and this is what provoked that she ended up dead. So he could have stayed at home. She had it under control. Then the other that is a completely different thing, but it also involves Al Cunningham, Johnny Silverhand, and Arasaka, is the attack to the Arasaka Towers that happened at the end of the Fourth Corporate War. That was in 2023. And this Johnny Silverhand was heading a Black Ops team of Militech, and they infiltrated the Arasaka Towers in the Corporate Center in a different part of Night City than the Arasaka Riot. And then Silverhand died, and the mini nuke exploded, and all this. And I think that this is the Arasaka Riot, and we're going to see it at least as a flashback. It would be great. It would be absolutely great if using Braindance we would be able to play as, if not as Johnny Silverhand, because it would be great that if we could play as another character and see Johnny Silverhand doing all this crazy, awesome stuff that he does in 2013 and 2020.
Yeah, Fallout did that in Fallout 3. Fallout 3 did that with Anchorage. They released an expansion which was kind of a Braindance thing. You go into a capsule and it sends you over to fight in that scenario. in that. So I think it would be cool for this that you find like a hidden room with that hidden brain dance and you go through it.
Mm-hmm. I remember the devs also saying that they wanted to have a musical performance that was like similar to the Priscilla concert from The Witcher 3, except on like a much more massive scale. So that's the first thing I thought of when I saw this.
Well, you have this and you have Lizzie Wizzy.
That too.
Yes.
That too. Yeah.
Because what Grimes explained accidentally, I don't know if it's something that is going to be seen on the game or is only part of the backstory of the character.
To me, that seems like more of a backstory thing, but yeah, that we see through maybe a flashback of some sort.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if the as we already saw something similar on The Witcher 3, that were these scenes that you played the series. I am hopeful that maybe Braindance will allow us to be another person and to play different things in another time. But well, Lizzie Wizzy is on the 2077s, but you know this is 2013, and the Osaka Towers is in 2023.
But do you think Braindance is going to be something that we get to play, or is it more of like we're going to get to experience it? Because technically, Braindance is already a recording of all the the movements and stuff, and you're just sitting there enjoying the ride.
No,
you know what I mean?
No, not all type of Braindance is like that. You have like the one that is like films, and then you have video games. You have the virtual rush, and this is video games in Braindance. I don't believe that they are going to use the virtual rush with the original brand because copyright, but I believe that that's the reason why they call it only Braindance. But because the original brand of the law that developed video games on Braindance was called Sega Atari, and the name is a little. But yes, you have yeah. You have the Braindance that is like films, and it's passive, and then you have the one where you interact with things, and it's video games Braindance. And on this type, and you can have both in the game. Maybe I've seen this, that's it's only an animation that you watch like a film. You can do it in the cinema Braindance, and then the other one you can play it like you are a character that's seeing this.
Just the ones that I've seen so far look like they're more of a cinematic experience, but I mean I could be wrong. Like Foreign Body, and what are the other ones? We'll just have to wait and see, I suppose.
Well, the one about
Sasha Devon.
Yeah, thank you. That's the one that I have in mind.
Hey, I got it.
It looks like kind of interactive.
Yeah, that one could go either way, really.
And in the 2018 trailer, there's a kid playing Braindance.
That's true. Well, I forgot about him.
Do you think that's Braindance, or do you think this is a glorified VR though?
Yeah,
because I don't think the Braindance has you like running around in a room with a prop weapon in your hand. I think that's a VR thing, not a Braindance thing.
Both the Net and Braindance were glorified VR.
No. I mean, I think
VR still exists, right? Like more traditional VR.
Yeah.
Braindance with a VR set.
Yeah, maybe.
The running thing. I mean, that's very. I mean, the games for kids. Well, this is the dark future, but even though it's the dark future, I would like to think that games for kids are different than games from, Sasha Devon experience. But also the style of playing of people playing on whatever the console is also different.
But we've also seen what seems to be a Braindance headset too, right? And she's just sitting there chilling. So I mean, I guess there could be multiple different variants of all of this.
Because I think that a child's Braindance thing or VR tech is going to be completely different.
Yeah, but I mean,
the regular standard VR.
And you have the virtual wall that is a concept that was taken from this book about learning books. Fahrenheit, some degrees that I never remember. That is a wall of images that is like a whole wall. That's also a type of Braindance in the lore. That they created this headset that they showed on Valentine's but it's not the only thing that appears in the lore. I can't remember the name. Something wall. I don't remember, but that's also another type of brain dance. And anyway, I mean, a lot of things visually changed from the 2018 to later.
They got advanced.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Even Mike Pondsmith said that in the first video of Cyberpunk 2077. The 2020 was just the beginning, and 2077 is, the thing.
Yeah.
Well, even though you have the time of the red in the middle, and the technology didn't evolve a lot, something evolved probably.
Yeah.
Especially mega corporations. I'm going to love to see what they did. What they did with this idea of, because we had a Chinese mega corporation that apparently took part of the services that Arasaka offered originally before they were made out of the States. And it's funny because Arasaka is a company that, amongst other things, represents this fear in the 80s of the supremacy, technological supremacy of Japan. That was one of the things that Cyberpunk as a genre speculated about the future. And in the end, it was wrong, because right now the masters of technology in the world are China. So if Cyberpunk is going to be a renewal of the genre, we need to also renew all these outcomes that ended up being wrong, like this one. So I find funny that we have this Chinese corporation being this technological power that we have nowadays, and I hope they mock a little bit on Tencent.
Oh, it will be interesting to see how Arasaka deals with them in the game.
Yeah.
Just for first mission. Oh, there's these guys. You gotta take them out.
It's gonna be really funny.
Masters of Technology is China. How so? Well, because they manufacture all the technology to start with. Second, the biggest technological company of the world, I don't remember if it's still the biggest, but it's Chinese, it's Tencent. And not only the biggest video game company, no, the biggest technology company in the world. Nobody expects the Chinese acquisition. Well, I mean, nobody expected the Chinese to do this, but yeah, they took over the technological world. And everything stopped during the time that they couldn't manufacture anything in China, while this thing that was going on was heavy on there. So they also hold the technological power of the world. And it's not a matter of being cutting edge only, that they are, and they have a very cyberpunkish technology applied to things that are also very cyberpunkish, but mostly because they are manufacturing the whole technology of the world, the one that is on the streets.
Yeah, just read about Shenzhen. That's gonna be enough. It's insane as a city, and how it actually is just a harbor of technology there.
Wouldn't China not allow this game in the country if they did? Well, that's actually, I mean, the question is funnier than no, the question is funnier for me, at least, than what you think it is. Because the thing is that, well, Cyberpunk is a metaphor of the outcomes, of the political outcomes of the 80s. And there's always this conversation where some people try to convince themselves that they are not real politics, they are the politics of a fantasy world. But they actually are metaphors of the current politics and the current outcomes. So, for instance, police brutality in the police brutality and police militarization and the use of excessive force in Arasaka and Militech. I mean, this is a subject that right now is very, very, very current. And for some, I don't know if consciously or unconsciously, they can't make the connection even if it's there. So as long as the game doesn't mention a big real company, maybe people will try to understand that it's not real.
Well, it's also the it's also the evil corporation too. So that actually plays into the censoring game that's going on right now. Is if it's a big corporation, you know, that doesn't have any connections to the government, then I mean that's good in their eye, because then they say, hey, look at that game. And that big corporation that's all by itself. You know what that corporation needs? It needs to be co-run by the government. And then that ends up playing towards the advantage of actually having it pass the censors' eyes, because they look at that and they see corporation bad. They see corporation run by government good. So yeah, in this case, what we're seeing so far is that it's going to be totally fine, and it's going to come out to China, and that they're going to have no doubt a huge hit there because of all the other games that have been banned in the last like year. So yeah, that's kind of how that's going.
But yes, but this is one of the many things that Cyberpunk as a genre got wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But not, even if in the things they got right, I believe that the first, we're talking about the genre of the 80s. It's a long ago. It's a long ago. It needs a renewal. But unfortunately, at the same time, all the outcomes look incredibly close to the world nowadays. So it's like, what material are they going to use to renew? Because that's more or less what we're living.
Mm-hmm.
And people say, without this technology, not really. We have. It's strange to me how people don't appreciate the technology we do have nowadays. I believe that it's because we normalized it. But something as simple as mobile phones, having a camera with us all the time, where you can have updated information on whatever, apps that were created for the protests in Hong Kong, this is also technology. And we may not have cyber arms, but we do have a lot of technology that makes us cyberpunks. And we also have politics that makes us cyberpunks, but this is more sad.
Yeah, and getting a little too real for giant dystopian future, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, well, I think they moved all the cyberpunk books in libraries from the sci-fi to the history.
It was
fun. You joke about it, but it's gonna happen. At this current rate, it's gonna happen.
No, I've seen libraries do that.
So, alrighty.
As a joke, but yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And even we were saying like, oh yeah, it was, and at one point in Cyberpunk 2020, yes, the reality kind of steps away. You know, Cyberpunk becomes different. It's like, oh, they met again, reality and the world they were planning. So,
well, it's like, there's no flying cars, but that's the only thing.
Yeah, we're missing all the cool shit. We get all the awful stuff.
Yeah. It's like, where's my eye implant, my hand implant, my full conversion kits, please and thank you.
Well, the thing is that at the turn of the millennia, all of this was already being developed, but what is not is usable for the masses. But the future is already here.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that not everybody has access to it, but we as a worldwide culture, we do have all this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
the drones to turn into flying cars is going to be tomorrow, quote unquote tomorrow.
Well, as soon as the military is done with that stuff, we'll get it, don't worry.
They will sell it to the police like they started in the 90s.
All right. Just a quick reminder, everybody, please hit the like and subscribe button. We hate asking you to, because it feels a little cheaper when you're reminded to, instead of just doing it because you just love us. But it's the YouTube game, and we literally are forced to play it. So we gotta ask for that. Also, hop in our Discords. We have been having an amazing time this weekend in our Discord for the Triple S League. We've been watching all of the gaming shows coming out live. We've been playing games together, doing all kinds of stuff. There was almost 20 people in the chat this morning, all playing the Jackbox game. It's some cool stuff that's been going on there. So hop on over, because we're really serious about this whole like building a community thing. So So do that. Check out, of course, Madqueen, NeonArcade, and LastKnownMeal. You each have Discord servers. Hop in there, follow everybody, because it's a good way to stay on top of the news and then to stay connected to community. So yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah, did we mention Pavel? He turned 35 yesterday.
Yes,
happy birthday!
Did.
Do we have to sing?
I was gonna sing, but then I realized that the most of the songs are copyrighted, so
including Happy Birthday.
Yeah, a bunch of the Happy Birthday songs are copyrighted. So if you sing them, you get dinged.
Good.
I think I might be able to do the Happy Birthday, Mr. President.
Please don't.
No? Okay.
Don't.
No, yeah. Let the robot sing.
I was thinking about that, but yeah, I think probably maybe not. But Pavel, if you want me to jump out of a cake at any time in the future, you just let me know, bro. I got your back.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink.
Just start running into the studio. I may be tempted
to wear a Speedo too. You never know.
Oh, he's 35. Okay.
You just distract them. We'll handle the building.
Yeah, LastKnownMeal and I have a deal with that.
Make a concert outside.
I did hear a rumor that Happy Birthday isn't copyrighted anymore. I did hear that rumor, but I don't know, and Ash would kill me if I just like jumped on it. So yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right, but I'm not I'm not positive enough to the point where I'd be like, hey, let's try it out on the live stream. So
true. Yeah, people are surprised everything how in the world is just copyrighted. Even colors, certain types, patterns of colors are copyrighted. Ferrari red, you can't use that.
Yeah, Ferrari's a trademark for people that makes cars. Ferrari red is for the color of the car. Of course,
you can just call it red.
Yeah, in fact, this color was always called. Oh fuck! I need to look for the word. The part on the front of the train that moves the whole train?
Yeah.
What's the name of it?
Well, I mean, usually we just call it the engine, the locomotive engine, yeah. But there may be another, is it?
Locomotive red.
Oh.
That was the name before someone decided to call it Ferrari red.
Enzo probably.
But it was called locomotive red.
No, the caboose is the other
that's the
end.
Back.
The caboose, that's the back. The cabooses used to be red though. That is true too.
Really? That's interesting.
Excuse me. They used to be really bright red. They I grew up seeing a ton of them, and they're I mean, there's a handful of them in like some parks and some like historical sites, but cabooses used to be an actual like very important thing. It would help control like the speed and motion of the train sometimes, and it was always staffed, but now it's the size. All of that is now the size of a shoebox that's put on the last car. Now, so it's so sad because cabooses were quite nice. Like a lot of them were designed to be quite homely. They looked very cute, and they had a room to sleep in and whatnot. Train travel is just something that's not you don't get the same. We have this thing in Canada called the
snow
VN rails. No, yes, we have that too. But
we have more than that. Okay, Jesus.
There's this rail service that's here that it's like, it used to be that you get on the rail and you spend like 2 or 3 days on the rail, and I made that trip when I was very, very young, where it was like you're just watching, you're spending a whole bunch of time in an old fashioned little like room inside of a train thing. I watched Snowpiercer and I'm like, oh hey, look, that reminds me of my childhood. People look at me really
You were
weird
locked
and
in a
like,
train?
what? What?
You were locked in a train for years?
You were a
Well,
squatting
I mean-
Canadian nomad? Is that what you're saying to me?
It kind of felt like it. I mean, it was a long trip, but yeah. No, I remember that. I remember the sunrooms on the cars. It was really cool, and that's something that you don't really. I mean, you really don't get that anymore, which is kind of too bad. But
It'll be interesting
anyways,
to see,
yeah.
though. We don't have
All
a
this
lot of
conversation
trains
started us in
Yes,
I will
yes,
jump out
yes,
of a
yes.
cake.
Yeah.
yet. Trains.
And then we got to trains and Snowpiercer.
So, yeah. Which, by the way, it's a pretty decent show. It's better than the first movie was. The first movie was kind of weird. I still have a lot of disagreements with like the science of Snowpiercer. It seems kind of like ridiculous in some cases, but not so much in other cases. So it's kind of
But
one of
it's a
those
great
things where it's like, yeah,
Mhm.
like they just I'm on episode 4. I do find it kind of interesting how they're not releasing it all at once. How it's like coming out only one episode per week. So that's kind of an interesting thing.
I gotta watch that.
Yeah, it's pretty decent right now.
It's Netflix, right?
Yeah, it's Netflix. I will save my like review until I think we get a little bit more into the show. But right now it's not too bad. The concept is still very very silly and has a lot of like kind of weird things to it, but it's not as bad as, like I said, the first movie. The first movie was terrible.
all of this because you were going to jump out of a cake. Yeah.
Yes, all this. So, getting back onto the Cyberpunk thing.
Getting back to the
week-
Cyberpunk thing, I wanted to answer 2 questions.
Oh,
One
sure,
is
shoot.
Frogget. Well, that's not a question. Hope that the hardwired give us system requirements. No, it's Night City Wire, but I'm going to keep that name because Hardwired, apart from being a very famous Cyberpunk book, is one of the names. The name of the most famous what if of Cyberpunk 2020, and it was very funny that you used it. You confused it with Night City Wire. And someone asked, imagine being able to meditate like in The Witcher. It was very funny because the other day I was talking about Cyberpunk with a friend of mine, and he made the question that I didn't think of. But he made the question, in a game that has the word punk on it, will the player character be able to spit on the floor? I honestly didn't know what
hope
to
not.
answer, but that's a very good question.
I hope not. That's kind of gross.
CDPR is right
Yeah,
there, down,
it's
right
punk. What is more punk than spitting on the
Yeah.
floor?
It's gonna be a major feature that they're gonna reveal. Introducing spitting.
Left trigger
Okay.
click.
Pissing was the great feature of Death Stranding. So.
Yeah. Jeez.
This is true. This is very true.
Oh god, the memes and compilations.
Yeah.
The mods.
Oh,
I
So
want
last week-
the mod to be able to spit on the floor, to be a real punk. I don't have enough
So last week
punk music.
we talked a little bit about this this interview that had come out in German, and unfortunately there were some slight problems with the mistranslation. Who wants to talk about this?
I loved your German accent.
you want
I
me
know,
on?
it's so great, isn't it?
Well, I don't have the translations in front of me. Do you have them on Discord? I know that the main thing was that they debunked the cyberspace thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Madqueen is gonna go into a depression.
Madqueen was so
I'm
terribly
canceling
upset
my
about that.
pre-order.
Yeah.
Well,
it was still a bit confusing,
really
though.
it was kind of a callback to way back in the 2020 game where you could do that, and that was what they were talking about in the thing, and it got misconstrued to be that's how the current thing is. To be honest, though, we don't know what the current thing is.
Stop.
Oh yeah, sorry,
I have to
German
mute me
accent.
because I just find it very funny.
So we don't know if these mechanics have actually been ported over. They wanted to make it clear that they were not speaking about those mechanics in the new game. They were speaking about how they were in the tabletop 2020 game. So that the information that we covered is accurate in the sense that that's how the 2020 system worked, but we do not know how that system has evolved into the newer system. I still contend that it would actually be a fairly brilliant thing for them to do, because that would allow them to keep up certain evolution of assets from mythological creatures from their Witcher days to this game, to then when they go back to do the Witcher stuff, that they have they haven't gotten rusty with things, right? They've been able to like come up with new stuff and cool new ways to introduce certain creatures and cover motion and attacks and that kind of stuff, because that's something that you can definitely fall out of experience with. You can get rusty on those things as a developer. So I think that this was a brilliant thing if they managed to combine it. So I'm still thinking maybe.
Well, according to the new translation, it turns out that this was a spontaneous joke that was taken literally.
And I believe that people, like, obviously, as we said, clinged to the warriors and monsters part too much, expecting it to be some kind of a Pokemon battle in a sense.
Yeah, no.
It would look more, digital, like in a sense of a cyber attack, rather than, have haya on both sides and having damage in the middle. Like,
yeah. You don't have two hackers. You don't have two hackers roll into the a space and have an arena between them and be like, all right, Pokemon, I'm choosing you. Go electrocution. And it's like, oh, I will counter with water vapor. That doesn't. I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
No, but the fighting system of programs inside the net, it's super cool. And if that was translated into the video game, it would be fantastic. But unfortunately, the net is destroyed, and we don't know what we're going to find in the net apart from Alcanigum. But maybe.
Well, you're talking the overall net, not the localized net that they have right now. So there's a localized net that's over top of like small cities, but it is nowhere near the actual interspace, and it does not connect. Like you can't connect to like New York at the same time as like being in Night City. That doesn't work.
It's different. First, we don't know. We don't have yet the full rules about net running in the city nets, because Cyberpunk Red won't be out until August. And usually in city nets, you didn't fight with another people. In the Jumpstart kit, you only had hound dogs, and that's it. Not real net runners protecting this network. And how the combat is going to work inside these nets is still being, I guess, polished, but it's not been released. So we really don't know. But then the net that is supposed to work like in the 20s. Also, there was in this new translation, by the way, I would like to credit the person that took the effort.
Yes.
Translation done by Mikanoko, and he sent it in the official Cyberpunk 2077 Discord. And I'm going to throw his YouTube channel on the. If I find my mouse, I will. If I don't, it's going to be difficult for me. Hello. Good morning. I'm going to put it in the chat. But then he also said, come on, mouse, please work. Not now. It's not the moment to play with me this way. He also commented that on the previous translation, it wasn't mentioned that the melee fight system shown in the E3 trailer was not nearly where they wanted it. So expect some big improvements there.
Yeah.
Well, the E3 trailer and the deep dive are different things. So I don't know if this information may be outdated.
Yeah, and again, because we are dealing with a translation, there are some things that are lost in the translation. So,
but we didn't even see that much for melee fighting anyway, to kind of make an assumption on like how much it progressed. We saw a couple of hits, and that was about it. And the Ripper blade.
You know, gee, that Lost in Translation, that would be a great name for a movie.
Yeah. You know how they translated it into Spanish?
How?
Lost in Tokyo.
What?
Yeah, Lost in Translation in Spanish was a total Lost in Translation. It was called Lost in Tokyo.
Lost in
You're
adaptation.
you're not joking. That's for real.
No, I'm not joking. I mean, this is the actual name of the film in Spanish. Lost in Tokyo.
So the meaning actually literally was lost in translation.
Yeah, totally.
Oh,
yeah, we usually have it. I mean that it was funny because there was this time in Spain where it was considered that the game, film, wouldn't sell if it had certain words on the title, and also all the titles of movies were the same structure. If a movie was a certain type of comedy, it had the same name. And if it was a drama, it had the same name. In a way that it seemed that all the different, hot shots and this kind of comedy and Naked Gun and all this, they all had a very similar name in Spanish. So they all seemed like different installments of the same film. It was super odd. But yeah, translations of films in Spanish, wow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it might be better than French. Cyberpunk, Matrix, as it goes, French translation names are terrible. I mean, I saw a fairly famous movie set in France, and the title there was an old guy. He looked like he was probably in his 40s, singing about thank heavens for little girls. And then I was like, okay, I'm out, and I haven't gone back to watch a French film after that. So. Because yeah, that came off as really weird. If nobody gets the joke, oh my goodness, you guys need to go watch more like old movies.
I watched French films, but I don't remember that though.
This is the Cyberpunk podcast. Where we talk less about Cyberpunk.
Yes, well, and again, hopefully this is like one of the last weeks that we don't have very much to talk about. So
yeah, we have one on 21st. Before Night City Wire, so hopefully we get something before Night City Wire, like a tease, and then on the 28th, so that's gonna be fresh.
And then we do have a boatload of guests hopefully coming. We are in the state of like we're trying to get them lined up, and most of them are like, well, yes, I would love to come on and talk about something that I can't really talk about right now, but we'll have to wait until a certain date that I can't talk about before we can whether confirm or not whether I can come on to talk about the thing that we want to talk about after a thing that we can't talk about comes out.
Yeah.
That we can't confirm or deny, and it's just like, thanks guys, it's really helpful. We love them. We really do. I really do. But it's sometimes it's like pulling out your hair a little bit for all things considered. It's like, I know what you guys are coming on to talk about. So just say that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, Sword Sister, right? It's like, geez. Alrighty.
Yeah, they're mentioning delay again. I don't think so. Like, very low chances for that. We don't know. Obviously no one can say 100%, but nah.
Yeah. Nah. I've been saying this for a little while. I would prepare yourselves to run into the scenario where we may end up running into some minor things being cut back a little bit, or some alterations to stuff just because of everything that's happened, and that's possible, but it's like, I don't think they're going to delay the game again. If they would have, I think they probably would have decided that by now, and sent that out. And no, people keep saying, well, but they keep delaying stuff. It's like they didn't choose to, have this whole thing happen in the last 2 weeks. That's happened. That's not on them.
Yeah.
And they're not everybody delayed. Everybody delayed out of respect. And that's completely fine. And it's totally acceptable.
If they didn't delay, they would have faced such a big backlash and, would have... It's just a tone-deaf thing to do. So, I mean, everybody had to do it.
I mean, it's a tone-deaf thing. The game needs to be finished. If it's not finished by the 17th of September, they have to delay the game, regardless of what the community wants. I mean, that's not... I mean, people frame it like well, obviously, it may be considered a mistake in planning if a game is delayed, but it's not that important. I mean, sorry for not giving a shit, but I mean, obviously want to play the game as soon as possible, but I don't take delays with this philosophy of, oh my god, they lied to us.
And also they're getting in too deep, so
it's wrong,
They're getting in too deep.
Yeah.
I would like to
I just noticed something on this Valorant game ad that keeps popping up. They lifted V's jacket for this guy.
They've had that forever.
Yeah.
On Valorant?
Yeah. Phoenix, right?
I mean, I know he's had it forever, but I mean, the game hasn't been out for longer than V's jacket has been out.
Well, there's Borderlands 3. They had the soldier class who had a
Wait, can you repeat that
jacket with the glowing.
The jacket of V has been out since Cyberpunk 2020. It's the same jacket that in the cover of Cyberpunk 2020.
Yeah. I'm just pointing out the fact that this Valorant game, I just realized it now because this stupid ad keeps replaying on this stupid website.
Okay, let's not give it more airtime. And I'd like to answer a question from Enthralling Bass. Did you guys see my question about money? No, I didn't. But I believe if you're talking about money, I guess that you're talking about the economy of the game. Did you see a question about the economy of the game?
No, I didn't see one.
Can you repost that, Bass? That would be great.
Well, I believe that if it's the question that I don't see it complete, but someone asked something about the economy of the game and we didn't stop to discuss about it. But the thing that Cyberpunk is a surviving game, not to confuse with survival game, where you have to fight for survival, not in the sense of gathering resources and such, but you need money to buy things and to do things. And although I don't think that we will have to pay for...
Here we go. Here's this question. Do you think that CDPR will address income in the game so that we don't become awash in cash? I'm hoping that they find a way to keep money valuable and difficult to come by. So basically, he's wondering about the economy of the game. Well, unfortunately, in any game where there is an economy, you can typically, like, as soon as you find the niche, you can usually make a lot of money really quickly.
It's easy to break it.
It's
but
just, I mean, it's easy to break in real life.
One thing is that you have to grind for that, and a different thing is that whatever you do, you will end up being a millionaire.
Yeah.
And Cyberpunk is not a game where being a millionaire makes a lot of sense, but I don't think that the game is going to have the mechanics of paying for basic things like your apartment or the phone or things like that. I think that we'll have consumables and clothing, programs, weapons, armor, all the basic things that you usually pay for in a game, but not the basic survival things like your apartment and your phone. And also, obviously, I don't expect typical survival mode mechanics like having to eat and drink, unless maybe in Hard Plus or something like that.
But we know that we know that this. I just want to drop this in. We actually know that you can now go and eat food for sure.
Yes, but we already knew that. I mean,
right? we've known that for a little while, but this was the first time I think it's been officially confirmed that you can order food and sit down and eat whenever you want.
But the thing is, the most difficult thing of well, at least that's my perspective. I believe that the most difficult thing when balancing an economy is when we're talking about an open world where you need to buy things to advance in the main quest. Sometimes you really don't need to buy a lot, because usually in your average game, whatever you need, you find it in game. You always find better weapons and better equipment and better whatever. But in a game where you can go to for claro. In a game where you go for the main quest and then you have a lot of secondary quests, you can have the problem of becoming too OP and too rich too soon. But then I'm remembering these words that maybe, I don't know if it's still a thing, but we won't know the difference between main and secondary quests. That's what's going to make the game extra long, because usually when you have the playtime described, it's the main quest only in open worlds. Like I could pass you have 35 hours of gameplay, but usually this is the main quest line only. But if you don't know what are the secondaries,
just do everything.
Right.
Yeah, that's going to make the game super long.
I don't mind.
No, me neither. I want to make this super clear. I don't think it's a problem, but it's going to be really. I don't know if it's going to be frustrating. On the other hand, it also puts more pressure in choosing what's your next quest, because I don't know how do you decide it, but usually I do it in what's closer to me, and I'm going to do that quest.
Same. Yeah, same.
And if I have less time, then I'm going for the main quest. But if you don't know the difference, what if a quest is introduced like it was important for the main plot, but actually it isn't, and it's something super stupid, like like the quest of Roche talking, or some quest like that, and it's introduced like it's going to be a super important quest where you're going to find out what happened with Johnny Silverhand and how they became an engram, and you you end up with a booster gang with some brain dance that has absolutely nothing to do. This can be insanely good, or this could be really frustrating for gamers. I don't really know.
I think there's gonna be.
I honestly don't know
way.
if one. Sorry.
I think there's gonna be a way to kind of distinguish the two, because we saw it on the side. You have the activity, the quests on the top right corner.
Yes, but you have bigger, and you have secondary quests, and then you have activities, which for me are different.
Yeah.
Like Witcher 3, which is the typical example when talking about Cyberpunk. You have secondary quests, and then you have things like this mini game of fighting, or you had the horse racing. For me, that are activities more than quests. On the other hand, a question that I would like to make to you three: when playing a video game, do you like having control all the time about what you are doing? And I don't mean in the sense of quick time events where you lose control of the game, but in the sense of knowing what would happen if you had no idea at all if the quest that you're playing is going to make you quote unquote advance in the main quest, or it's not. Because also you have the second question is, if this is the thing, because this is the way that I understood it, and maybe in the end it's going to be a completely different thing, but this is the way that I understood it. If you have no way of telling the difference between main and secondary quests, maybe you can play something in a secondary quest that then is going to have a big impact on the main quest, because this is something that also happened in The Witcher.
True. It depends which characters you pull back to Kerboren. It depends how it kind of influences the fight a bit, the late fight in the game. But I don't know.
I like not knowing. I like not knowing. That the idea of not knowing sounds a lot more organic in the way you explore the game to me. But I feel like they probably wouldn't do that just because the everyday regular person who can only play for a couple hours is not gonna want that scenario. Maybe there'll be I guess there's the hardcore mode where you can turn off the markers and stuff like that, right? Yeah.
I think I can't wait to go on a super awesome mission that you pick up from talking to a particular guy on a side street, and he's like, "Hey man, I got this ultimate hit for you. You know, you're gonna do this," and you go on this long mission, and you have to deal with 3 or 4 gangs and all at once, and there's this big Mexican standoff at the final end, and you finally get the package, the little briefcase, and you finally get out of there. You get in the car, and you're like riding back to your hotel or your apartment. And you open it up, and yes, you finally got it. The recipe for the golden donut.
Cyber donut? Yeah.
Cyber donut. It's like, that would be great. I would love that. And not knowing the difference between that and the main quest, I think it's totally fine.
But Neon did a great point. Not everybody has the same amount of time to play the game.
Because I was thinking of like Maddie, right? Maddie makes a lot of content, and he's a dad, but he likes to play games. I don't think that kind of way to explore games would be serviceable to his time, right?
Yeah, but I believe that he's the kind of guy that maybe he can only play 2 hours, but he will be playing for days, for days, for months, and then for years, and for whatever.
Okay, maybe he's not the best example, but someone substantially more casual.
But I get your point.
Yeah.
The thing is that when you're designing a game for so many types of gamers, because I don't know, a game like Sekiro, this game has a very specific, particular type of gamer in mind. But Cyberpunk is intended to be a blockbuster, and it's intended to be accessible to everybody, in all possible ways. So you like shooters, you can shoot. You don't like shooters, you have the neural link to be able to do it automatically. You like driving, you have racing. You don't like driving, well, you have also a smart link, and you don't have to drive. And this extends to everything, and designing for so many people at once, that is so difficult. It's like, who's your target? Everybody. That's something very difficult to do. And also in terms of times, what you said is also true. This is also one part of the game, is they have families, they have lives, and they only can spend a certain time playing a game. And if it's too long, they're not going to finish it.
Right, yeah. And they might even get frustrated, which is even worse, right?
Or lost.
Yeah. But also the different thing is that if you do this on a hardcore mode, then all the rest of the things in the game, especially combat, will be more difficult. Maybe this is not accessible for everybody. Or maybe you will have an option to just hide it and not knowing. I don't know. Too many options. But yeah, the fact that they are not having to find a very specific segment of gaming, that's what expands the possibilities, but also reduces the number of things you can do.
Yeah, I think that's something you addressed with options, right? So you make the base game the most accessible thing, and then you can tweak the little individual things to your liking to how hardcore you want to play the game. And I suppose you need to play the game first to be able to kind of get a bearing on that, or play for a couple hours to understand what you need to tweak up and tweak down. But I think options are just the only way to
yeah, but usually when it comes to difficulty or to this kind of options, the games don't give that many options in that regard. And not to mention that games that are oriented to combat, usually more difficult, means that the enemies turn into balance sponges, and you are weaker. And there's not an significant improvement in, I don't know, the way the artificial intelligence reacts or something like that, how all the NPCs behave. It's just that you need more bullets, and you find less things in the way. I mean, it's not really more difficult. I don't know if I'm explaining myself at this point. But have a combination of, maybe you can remove this, and you can put this, and you can do that.
Well, that seems to be the trend in gaming right now, is accessibility options, right? Doesn't The Last of Us 2 have like the most accessibility options?
It's amazing, the difficulty sliders they have.
Even like the color grading, whatever, so that people of all different kinds of eyesight issues can experience the game properly. It's I think that's a good thing. It's always a good thing to have more people able to play a game. People who don't have function over their hands or whatever, right? Disability.
Yeah.
It's always a good thing.
Yes, and the funny thing is that all this can also give someone without any kind of disability a different way of playing the game, which is also very interesting. I found all this the way you had the special grading for colorblind people, and I thought, I may play the game like that. Not because I'm colorblind myself, but because it gives a different perspective. And I thought, maybe that's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you guys and lady check the comments or just glance at them? Well, we do check the comments, but the problem is that if we are in the middle of a conversation, it's very unpolite to interrupt another person to read a comment. I am so sorry if we sometimes skip questions, but if we are in the middle of a subject, it's very ugly to, in the middle answer the question.
Otherwise, we'd be jumping around all over the place all the time. More than we do normally. More than we would do normally.
With that being said, we've reached the Bethesda segment of our podcast.
Yes,
I want to answer a question before we start with Bethesda. They totally have to implement a horror suspense mission. Don't you agree? Well, it doesn't especially goes with the subject because the life in Cyberpunk is already horrific enough. But it would be funny, but it's something that is not especially Cyberpunk-ish. Because life is so horrific enough, you don't need Chulu and werewolves here.
Horror suspense.
But yeah, they were sorry.
Maybe the bozos would classify into a horror/suspense mission.
Suspense, I don't know, but horror. But it's not, your typical structure of. Well, the truth is, when people talk about horror, I always have in mind supernatural things. And
Well, you can present horror with real things in a sense.
Yeah, but usually when people say horror, I imagine werewolves and ghosts. Yeah. You have the aliens in the net. If they were already destroyed by Rage Badmos, so I doubt so.
I'm sure some of the brain dances can be kind of horrific. Some of the more extreme brain dance,
I don't know if we're going to get to see them, or if it's only advertising to get a grasp of what brain dance means.
Yeah.
I don't think we saw some advertisements of braindance, but I don't think we're going to get to play them.
It is a big thing, definitely. It's a huge thing.
Well, yes, it's the entertainment that people is addicted to.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge thing to implement that, but it will depend to what point they do.
I think they have enough room in their quest structures to have horror quest lines.
Yeah.
People is expecting. Well, I always say the wrong word. I know. They are expecting. Did they officially announce 2 expansions, or this is something that we are expecting?
A little bit of both.
We know 100% due to that controller.
Yeah, you get it with the console.
Oh yeah, the console.
Oh yes, the console. You have 1 expansion, because I was expecting 2, but I'm not positive that this is because of official information, or because just I'm expecting 2 expansions like in The Witcher. But why only 2?
They've referred to it as expansions, just plural. So there could be 2, it could be 3.
Yeah,
it's definitely one.
Actually, it did. I believe that it was said that in 1 year they were going to release the game, then the expansions, and then in 1 year the multiplayer. So it would make more sense to make expansions of the multiplayer than to the single player, to make it an ongoing experience.
I think they're referring to single player expansions though when they say that time period, because obviously they'll do updates to the multiplayer element after.
No, but what I meant is please make expansions forever of Cyberpunk until you release the next Cyberpunk game. But then I realized that the next Cyberpunk game is in a year after Cyberpunk 2077. Oh, that's the idea. Oh, what I understood was the idea. Well, so maybe please release expansions for the multiplayer forever.
I think it's been pushed back a little bit though, right? So they probably have more than a year for those expansions.
Well, yeah.
And they're different teams.
Earliest
and honestly,
that I've heard for that is like really late 2021. So
and even
well
that,
over a year away. And even that, I mean, if it takes 2 years, it's going to take 2 years.
I mean, they're really
And-
prone to
2022.
delay.
Mark my words.
Yeah.
That's
No,
right.
for sure.
obviously no official. I no inside info on that, but
Yeah,
I have no proof,
I've
but
heard-
no doubt
yeah.
either.
yeah. It's all for a good game in the end, so why not?
We're going to
And-
have the expansions of Cyberpunk 2077 in the middle, so not a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
And whatever
true.
the new
And the
the new-
game.
and
And
whatever the
historically-
multiplayer that they want to go, whatever the multiplayer that they want to go with is going to be a new genre. It's not going to be the battle royale has been going on for like what 3-4 years now. It's going to run its
that-
course. It's going to run its course in the next 2. So that
I have my ideas, but they are so difficult that I gave up on hope, on any kind of hope that they were going to develop something like that.
Mhm.
And we also have the Spaco game too to fill the time.
Mm.
Yes, we know nothing about it.
I went on their Twitter the other day. They have 2 tweets, and the last
Yep.
one was from 2018 or something. I'm like, man,
Just
give
wait
us
for
something.
the beep.
Yeah, Jesus, the peep all over again.
Well, maybe every single fucking time that they show something, I say exactly the same sentence, so I'm going to say it again. Maybe in The Wire we find out something about the mobile game. That I've been saying that since they bought Spoko. Well, I guess that at some point we're going to.
I just want to see some gameplay.
It was very funny because on the PlayStation 5 reveal, they showed the new Hitman, and there was this Rick and rolled moment where they say, "And we're going to show you some gameplay," and they showed literal 10 fucking seconds of gameplay. 10 seconds of gameplay.
Did they even show gameplay?
10 seconds, yeah.
I must have-
Probably it wasn't enough time for
I
you to
blinked.
realize it was gameplay.
I blinked and it was over.
Yeah, same with Resident Evil. They showed 5 seconds, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna show you some exclusive Resident Evil 8 gameplay," and then here we see the chandelier. The end.
That was gameplay?
The guy walking up to the room, and there's a chandelier at the end.
Wow, riveting gameplay, guys. Thank you.
Oh.
Mhm.
So yeah, if we I expect to see more than 10 seconds on gameplay.
Well, they've made no promises about what we're gonna see, so I guess they've already done their due diligence about that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't really get mad at whatever they show.
Mm-hmm. Also,
It's funny because the way that they built the PlayStation 5 show and the PC gaming show, and the PC gaming was built as an entertainment thing, and the PlayStation, in terms of production, it was like super cheap. And there was only trailers. And it's funny because trailers are advertisement. So it's like we sat on a chair to watch one advertising, and then the next, and then the next, and then someone speaking for a very little bit, and then more, and then more. But I expect that in the next, in the Night City Wire and in the this thing IGN is doing, Summer of Gaming, we see a structure that doesn't make it so difficult to keep your butt in the chair watching commercials all the time. The funny thing about it is that then you restream and you have a copyright strike. Like, hello, I'm giving more views to your commercial. But
Yeah,
I don't know what this is a thing.
yeah.
I restreamed the PS5 thing and I had 9 in like
Oh,
5
God.
minutes.
Oh god. Oh,
Yeah,
I was
we-
expecting that though.
We avoided that.
I just had one.
We streamed it like closed. No, not streamed it, but like we all watched it together on
Discord,
the official
right?
stuff.
Yeah,
In
I
the
did the
Discord.
same because it was like, oh my god, the copyright claims.
There was some issues because it like just when everybody was watching it, it's like some people had their stream was like almost a minute behind others, and it wasn't because they were like delayed. It was because the stream to their country or to their zone was delayed by a certain amount of time. So there was a little bit of frustration with that, but it's like
oh.
it's like it's better than having to deal with like constant takedowns from these.
Yeah.
So frustrating.
They still have not shown the techie or flathead spider bot. Well, they showed the bot. What they didn't show is what the bot is able to do. It would be crazy not to show that off before release. It's a whole other playstyle that have not shown off. Yeah, well, they have a lot of things to show. Maybe not 100% of things must be shown, because obviously there are some things that we need to discover in the game. But at least I have some visual clues of how it works. It would be a good idea, especially for the people that is already going for the techie. I want to be a techie.
I mean, it's funny because they could have shown it, because in the 48-minute demo, you get the flathead, you jack it into your head, and then it walks up to you at the end, but you don't really see what it does in between.
Oh, they could have shown it. Maybe it wasn't finished.
Yeah,
maybe.
No, that definitely was not finished at that point, because remember it was just after that where we talked about the issues with the companion AI that they were hiring for. Was when that video, because that came out like what, 2 years ago now?
Yeah.
Yep. August 2018.
Yeah, it was after that they had been posting some more positions. So we know from the positions that they were hiring that not all their combat AI was like up to snuff, and there was still some that was leaving a little something to be desired.
That makes sense then.
But yeah, everybody wants to see. If you are if you already had an idea more or less of the build you wanted to do, everybody wants to see their build. I wanted to see the solos, and some people wanted to see the runners, and yeah, they didn't show the techie. So people that have the idea that want to play as a techie, they are all like, I want to see the techie. And I mean, I had the idea of playing as a solo because solo has always been my character class. But then I saw the netrunner, and I was like, maybe I should pick some perks of net running, and then maybe I will see the techies, and I will think, maybe I should pick some perks of the techies. So I don't know what's going to happen to my final build.
Yeah, they presented netrunners as more stealth than solos.
I mean, you know what's my opinion about it? If you shoot someone in the head, they won't see you coming. That also counts as stealth.
That's fair.
Well, they also won't see you coming if you drop a bench press on their chest and crush their whole body.
Which was super funny.
Yeah.
Which
if they ever make this,
I'm worried that I'm worried that when Mad Queen plays this game, she's gonna go through as this like stealthy techie, and she's gonna be like just laughing hysterically at all of the accidents that she causes. But can you imagine, being on the gang's team, like you're one of the like bosses in the gang, and you come down, it's like, what do you mean the special thing went missing? Well, it just went missing, sir. It was just after Johnson had the thing collapse on him, and then Joey was standing over there, and I mean the truck just backed into him and put him into the wall, and then there was this giant explosion from one of the drink machines that took out a whole like 10 of people, and it's like, guys,
we didn't see it.
That's the thing that I like about the net runners, because stealth, I mean, first we need to be honest about it. Stealth is not my thing. I try and I end up shooting, because the only game, I always go back to Batman, the only game where I'm good in stealth at is Batman. I don't know, maybe because you're the knight. But in other games like Deus Ex, for instance, it's like, okay, I'm going to try a stealthy approach, and I end up shooting most of the time. Yeah. But this thing that you could use to do funny things using things about things in the environment to do actions is not exactly new. But the things that you can do with the environment, this is quite innovative, and I found it very funny. Like when you can use another person as a shield. I don't remember. Probably there are other games doing that, but I don't remember them. And when I saw it, I was like, I love it. I need to do this. What do you need, Solo? Yes, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, that was first in like Gears. Gears of War kind of introduced that as a big feature, the meat shield back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when, I really do remember when what's it called? Was there's one YouTuber was like trying to do a playthrough, like a non-violent playthrough of Fallout New Vegas, and they're in the room and they're staring at the doctor after having been revived, and they're holding the pistol and they're just starting to have like a panic attack while pointing the pistol at the doctor, like, and it's like it's supposed to be a complete pacifist run, and they can't even get out of the first room without putting a bullet in the doctor's head.
It's that bloodlust.
I tried to do. The only time that I tried to do 100% pacifist run on a game was on Deus Ex 4. Yeah, it was the 4. And all the game I went with different weapons, the tranquilizers and things like that. Mm-hmm. Until one scene, I won't explain the whole of it because spoilers. One scene that you incapacitate an enemy, and this enemy has a pocket secretary. So I incapacitate the enemy, then I read the pocket secretary while I'm walking away. Once I'm done, I hide it, I draw my weapon, go to the enemy is incapacitated, and bam, bam. I had to shoot twice. It's okay. I'm going back to pacifist, but you deserved, fucker. This is my only time trying to do a pacifist run. What the fuck is a pacifist run? You have to be pacifist enough in life.
Oh yeah, you have to, like, I don't know. It's too difficult. Just
I'm not super boring. Like, you're not interacting half the game if you're just a passive. You know? That's just my opinion, though.
Yeah, let me go into the dystopian future and be nice.
Well,
so
yeah,
2
you
hours.
can try not to kill anyone, but
yeah,
is that realistic?
No, of course not.
I mean, in a universe where you don't have people that is pointing guns at you, maybe, but...
I mean, your job is a mercenary. You literally kill people for money.
Yeah.
Well, no. You steal for money. Killing people is a collateral damage. I mean, unless you're an assassin and you're directly paid to kill someone, usually the kills are collateral.
Mm.
I mean, it wasn't nearly one of the most popular movies, but that's my favorite Marvel Universe movie commercial was Ant-Man. He's like, I'm done with breaking in and stealing stuff from people, and I'm turning over a new leaf. I'm gonna be a good guy now. What do you need me to do, sir? I'm willing to do anything for you. And you break into a bunch of stuff and steal stuff. Like, oh, actually, that makes a lot of sense.
Oh, but now that made me wonder. Like, are people gonna hire us for hits?
To do what?
For hits, for assassinations.
Well, if you're a mercenary, probably yes. And you can take the job or you can reject the job.
Yeah.
I knew a guy who knew a guy who knew a guy who did weeding. He removed weeds for $75,000 a pop.
What? $75,000?
Yeah, $75,000 for taking out a weed. You know, one of those really annoying weeds that you just really hate that weed, and you really just need it to be gone.
That's expensive, dude.
Yeah. Gardening, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
Rough job.
Mm-hmm. So, all right. I think we're majorly overtime. So, you guys got anything going on this week that you want to talk about?
Well, I was thinking about making a video on the Xbox commercial.
Mm.
But I'm preparing another video of Law that I've been talking about for long. It's going to be like the Rage Watmos video that I have to repeat because I don't like.
Mm.
That was a very good video, by the way. You did a very good job with that Rage one.
Oh, thank you. It was difficult but insanely funny.
Mm-hmm. Insanely good in the end.
You're remaking it already?
Good.
No. I'm the other video about the idols.
Oh,
I'm making that video. I shot all the video. I did a part of the special effects.
Okay.
And when I was in the middle, I said I don't like the colors. I'm going to change all the what I shot and then repeat everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then I'm going to change the cosplay and do it something completely different.
Mm.
Nice.
But it's going to look. I mean, it looks super cool.
Ooh.
Super cool.
Mm-hmm.
I get excited, but then I don't know what people thinks when they watch it. When people think when they watch it, like the Rage Baltmo's video, I don't know how many people got the story that what's going on during the video. So far, only one person commented about it.
I think most people commented on like the post processing and the actual edit of it, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's cool. That's cool. But I wonder how many people understood the story of the video. Not only the thing that was explained by P62, but what was going on in the screen.
I don't think that's.
I don't really know. Only one person commented about it, about the post production, and then when
I need to watch it again now that you mentioned it.
No, because I mean you have the obvious thing that is the story of Rage Baltmos, and then you have what happens during the video, and there are a lot of effects that change during certain parts, and a lot of subtle things like that, and I don't know if. If I spend a lot of time on them, and in the end it's something that it's only for me, or people really getting it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I have to explain why is the voice of Neon at the end, I'm going to punch someone in the face. B62 is cooler than Cortana. Thank you, Tandem.
Damn, that's quite the compliment.
Yeah.
I'll talk about gunplay this week a bit. Because that's been a reoccurring question on my videos to talk a bit about gunplay, and I have some lower videos for Cyberpunk. So yeah,
I think I'm gonna do a video on like hype and expectations, and then I just finished the script of my longer video. So that won't be out before Night City Wire because I want to use Night City Wire footage in it because I don't want to bore you guys with the same footage that I've been using for like 2 years now. Stuff in there. And then that will be out after. It'll probably be like 2 hours around there. So, yeah.
Damn. Yeah. But definitely a change of gameplay, man.
I know. I'm so tired. I mean, I still like using the footage because you can manipulate it however you want, but
yeah.
Getting a little old.
When All Foods Factory comes, I'll just run through it. I can't look at it anymore. It's like, yeah. Just give me that. I'm out. Right.
Side.
No, I was reading something from schedule. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into that schedule about the partnership there. Wouldn't surprise me though because I've been, they're kind of involved in that. So yeah. All right. No, that does it for this week. Hopefully we'll have something to talk about next week, and then week after we're gonna have Wire. So
yeah,
stay tuned for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be exciting. Who's up next here?
Me.
Nice.
So yeah, and then so Madqueen next week, and
I am the week before the Wire.
Mm-hmm.
Chin, 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 chin.
And then after we have guests.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be
yes, hopefully many of them.
Yeah.
Then we'll have a fight,
right.
an internal fight. No, my guest goes first. No, mine goes first. I asked it first.
Who keeps playing the guitar with their foot?
Sorry, I just. Do you believe that I move in the videos like that because there are videos? No, I move like that in the real life. So I have something in my hands and I'm constantly hitting the microphone. I am so sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sitting in a certain
It sounded
way.
like you were hitting a guitar.
Yeah,
because it has some coils here. And as I'm sitting in a certain way, this is on the trajectory of my hands. So today you're hearing a different sound when I'm hitting the microphone.
Cool.
I thought you were about to serenade chat, the original song of some sort.
Well, if Happy Birthday is copyrighted,
I think it is.
All right.
people is asking me,
All
what
right.
are you doing for your long video? Yeah, I know. I'm going to spoil to you. It's a naked reveal.
Jesus, now you're setting some expectations that I cannot live up to. What are you doing to me?
I mean, you could, but I mean, I think you just lose subscribers by doing that. So,
What are you trying to say, Sib?
I'm just saying, you know, it's like nobody likes the eggplant. Nobody wants to see that.
I totally disagree.
But you okay? Yeah, you're in a minority there. I think. I don't know.
No.
Maybe
No.
not. Okay. All right.
No, I'm not a minority.
All right. Okay. Thanks for watching, everybody. We will see you next week.
See ya.